or some full-blown bender, and he wouldn't give the mic back to the presenter, and he would just like, the turkey needs feeding. I didn't know what that meant.
There'll be some sort of inside joke.
The Belvedere vodka, so like feed the turkey and then feeding in Belvedere vodka on stage. I thought feed the turkey was some sexual fucking
100%. They're all going to fucking go and smash some bird tonight. Don't forget it with jiu-jitsu, all it's like riding a bike, but if it did end up going to the floor, I'm confident I'd still be able to do bits on the floor as well.
Just visualise you like triangle choking someone outside bigger
just
than
fucking
that.
triangle and just brain a few of them in, mate. He's got fucking knockout power in both hands. As long as he can just get out of that clinch if he's trying to play that game and just throw some good hands, he's not going to struggle.
Is what is the North Star? Because you have to find meaning in things, and if you don't find meaning in things, everything's pointless anyway. So he's going back to that gratitude, what you talk about. I know these are deep concepts, but if you can't find meaning in basic things, what is the point? And to me, life's probably about that. It's finding meaning in things, being present, being social, and creating. These are the pillars that you'll always revert back to. So creating is in many forms, isn't it? It can be in a physical body, it can be in a spiritual body, it could be in a business. It comes back to some core basics.
Just a quick message from the boys here at Fully Game to say thank you to everyone that's supported us with the podcast so far. We're about to take the channel to the next level, and we've got some massive guests lined up for you all. We've set up a group on Facebook, the Fully Game Fellowship. We invite you all to join it. It's absolutely free. Why not? We'll be posting updates on who we've got lined up for the pod, so you boys can get fired up just like we do. Behind the scenes footage, and also an insight of what me and Josh get up to on a day-to-day basis, and clips that weren't allowed on YouTube as well. So make sure you click the link in the description, request to follow the page, and we'll just accept you boys straight away. Due to the nature of the content that we make and the subjects that we talk about, fighting, substances, shagging, and all the cool topics that for some reason YouTube doesn't like to run ads on. So rather than bleep it out or remove the juicy bits, we've decided not to monetize his videos. We've set up a free tier Patreon account, the first one being a £5 a month subscription, cheaper than a vodka Red Bull to support the boys. It's a bit of a no-brainer if you ask me. Anyone who does that will get the name, the social media tag, roll onto the end credits at the end of the podcast just so we can acknowledge who the boyos are. The next tier up is a £50 a month subscription. This is an opportunity for business owners to show you support. And in return, we'll have your business name, your logo, and your social media tag rolling onto the end credits, and also personal shout-outs to the recurring subscribers. Now, the top tier, this is a £500 a month subscription. This will give you guys a personal advertisement video shout-out, filmed by yours truly himself. Also, what tier 1 and 2 got you, and you'll also earn maximum respect from the boys here at Fully Game. And we'll be treating you to the odd visit to come and film some extra stuff at your workplace as well. And finally, if you're super passionate about your business and want to take it to the next level, we are looking to partnership with businesses that have real potential to take over. Get in touch to find out how we can use the power of the internet and our knowledge of online business to help you maximize the growth of your company. And if you've got zero interest in subscribing to us Patreon at all, not a problem. All we ask is that you keep showing love and support, like and share and subscribe. Back to the podcast.
What size is this tank? What is it? I saw this big fucking hell. Can't run without his head. Can't run without his head, mate. Can't be letting him fend you off like that.
Nah.
Gotta go for his ankles.
You gotta go for ankles up ball, aren't you?
Yeah.
Big fat motherfucker.
I can. The only fear for me with that fucking cameras I can't see, but let's just fucking hope it's fucking working.
Looks good to me.
I'll tell you what we'll talk about first. How did you find... I know you said on the vlog you're a little bit nervous. How did you find the AVT yesterday?
Good, mate.
Some good boys down there.
To be honest, I was only like nervous thinking about it morning. Once I actually got there and started getting warmed up, it was sound. Obviously we missed Blakey. I was looking forward to moving about with him because obviously we've had him on pod. Yeah. And he's fighting in a couple of weeks. And to be fair, I've not actually seen, apart from him fight, I've not seen much of him. So I think it'd have been good to have a little move about with him. But it was nice to move about with Rico. We watched Rico for a long time. And now obviously we're going to go to watch his fight in a couple of weeks. So it's built a bit of tension up for that. And obviously Rico's on the pod Sunday. So.
It was interesting to speak to Danny Mitchell. I think he's got a wealth of knowledge in, mate. You can see I think with Danny, I was thinking this yesterday, you can see he's a martial artist. I think he's studied the game a lot. He's well read, well versed. He obviously has fought at a very, very high level. And just, I don't think he'll mind me sharing this, Luke Kelly. obviously we're close to him. I want him just to sort of grasp. He said something in that small piece when he talked regarding that it's more like MMA boxing. I don't know who am I to say what's the right style for BKFC? I don't know, but like he said in that part of the game is the clinch and the ability to work in the clinch and fight in the clinch. Just how important do you think that is?
For BKFC, massively. Like BKB, total different story. No clinch, no holding, nothing like that. And it's a tricky one for Luke 'cause he's got the traditional boxing background on here, and like we're gonna do a bit of working on grappling and clinch today with him. I definitely think he needs to do it, especially when he's fighting an MMA fight.
Yeah,
100%.
Like there, he's fighting Paul Cook. They've put him third from the top of the bill, so to me, they must either be building Kelly up or building Paul up. What would be? You've got some MMA background. What is his game plan there?
Bare knuckle is a good transition to get back into fighting where you don't need to fucking do all the ground game, you don't need to do all wrestling and stuff like that. So he's probably going to come over with some good grappling, and he's got all right hands on it. We watched him against Brendan. He didn't really throw much, but he's got a bit of tidy boxing. I think his game plan 100% is going to be to capitalise on the MMA background. So he probably is going to try and get in and get grabby and get into a bit of a dogfight with Luke. Now Luke is a strong kid and he's explosive. I don't think he'll struggle to get out of that clinch. It's just if they get the back of his neck and lock him in, and Luke don't know how to get it out, and he's just a bit like a stuck dog. He can just eat loads of uppercuts there.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, we're 2.5 weeks out, I'm not saying Luke needs to start just fucking going to Muay Thai and starting to learn how to grapple and shit, but as long as he knows how to get himself out of them, he don't need to really get involved in it. He's got fucking knockout power in both hands. As long as he can just get out of that clinch if he's trying to play that game and just throw some good hands, he's not going to struggle. But he needs to have a little bit of a knowledge, because you can just get stuck in it. You saw with Danny yesterday, and he had the big gloves on.
Yeah, and he's able
just
to
fucking gripped him and just kept him there. But there is ways out of it, but you need to know him or you're not going to be able to get out.
I don't know too much about who Blakey's fighting, so I apologise to that. But in terms of Rico and the main event, do you know much about that? We should really be a bit more versed up, me and you, like, shouldn't we? But
we need to watch. Is it Caleb?
Yeah,
we need to watch him. All I know is what Rico said yesterday about him. We weren't actually going to go to the show because you're going to France, is it?
Yeah, fly the day after. Yeah.
So we didn't really intend on going, so we've not followed it as much as we did the Christian Holmes fight. But let's have a look. We'll have a little sit down today and watch. And I mean, I'm going to back Rico every fight. It's fucking his last fight, mate. It just looked like he was toying with a guy, and he said, I can't remember if it was his post-fight interview or one of his videos he put on social media, were like, I was just toying with him. Oh no, it was Blakey who said it. Blakey was like, he says I could have knocked him out any time, but I just thought I'd just move about. If you're feeling that comfortable, mate, it doesn't really matter who you're coming up against.
I'm interested to sit down with him. He's got a good story, I'm going to surmise there. Obviously, overcoming the illness and what he's done, and to still compete at the very highest level, you have to commend that, and it's some achievement. You know, most people out there who probably face any of that sort of adversity, it would be easy to just retreat and back down a little bit. So for him to still fight at the very highest level, I know he came back against Sweeney and what happened there, but to be now back on the biggest stage, headlining an event in Newcastle, it's some achievement that. And just watching his Instagram, I've not really spoke too much to Rico, but I had a few words yesterday, and then you get to have a few words off camera. You can just see he's really about it. And he's a super professional. How he treats his nutrition and his boxing and his track work and his conditioning, it seems to cover all angles. And I think when you get to that level, like in business or in anything, in any pursuit, it's those small margins where you're putting in the work where it's not seen, where I think it'll pay off on fight day. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, 100%. He's a good athlete, mate. He went straight and did a track day with fucking John Wattham straight after 12, 15 rounds of sparring, whatever it was. So he's ready, and he just flows nicely, mate. That's what I liked about moving about of him yesterday. I just noticed he just flowing, like you said. He didn't give anything away when he was throwing jabs or anything. It would add to.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I was watching it back. Just no telling his jab, just snap on it, bang.
Yeah, good.
The other gent, can you remember his name? The ginger lad.
Yeah, Oscar.
He looked good. PFL.
Yeah, let me find his name because I'm going to give him a bit of a shout out because I enjoyed sparring.
Yeah, so there was some good moving around there with you and him, good flowing. It's interesting to watch that because, again, I'm going to shout out Luke Kelly. When I go watch Kelly, he only seems to have one gear in sparring, which is fucking kill. So to be able to go and as a bit of a fanboy there, go see just how other gyms technically spar, move around, get a feel for it, but just you let shots go, like you said, and you can see there. I think once you've got a good dance partner like that, you can sort of flow with it, dig into that a little bit.
Well, there's that little bit there that you caught on the vlog where we're flowing for like 10, 15 seconds. We're both throwing good combinations and landing on each other, but not trying to hurt each other. I think if you can find that like 40 to 60% speed and power where you can throw it as if you're still moving, you're not exactly pulling your shots, but you're not also trying to fucking knock each other's heads off. And it's called Oscar Owensworth.
Oscar Owensworth. Shout out.
The Ginger Fury, yeah. And then he was telling me he's fought on PFL, got Fight at Night on his debut.
Did he finish?
No, it were a decision, but it must have been a good fight. And I'm like, did you get a fight bonus? He was like, no, fucking gutted, mate. If that had been like one championship, you got 50k bonus.
Oh, wow.
But he's hungry, mate. I said, oh, when's your next fight? And he was like, I'm literally just the first call for if
What age were he?
out. It's hard to tell. I think he must have been 25, 26.
Yeah.
I've seen him train at Sweatbox a couple of times. I think Slim does a bit of sparring with him, but yeah, I enjoyed moving about with him. He was good.
What else has been going on, mate? So I know we had Jeremy on the podcast, who is getting released tonight. Probably.
He's messaged me today, actually.
What's he said?
He put, he's like double checking that what he's said to us is getting put into place pretty much in a nice way.
Go on.
He was like, legend, how you boys doing? Took some action yet on the things we spoke about?
Well, I think I were not nervous about the Jeremy podcast because I'd read a lot of his work and I assumed he was the real deal. But when he came here, I could sort of see that he were really about it in terms of business. And I knew it was going to be a good podcast for you, sorry, because obviously you want to pursue your agency and I want to pursue my academy. So to understand this digital world and these digital programs, it's nice to get a feel for it. And I knew, because we speak at length a lot about stuff and you can sort of, it's nice, I said to Phil Bennett downstairs, it's nice sometimes to get new eyes, a new perspective on it. Mm-hmm. How did he change your game plan? I think, would you say your business model's changed a little bit now?
Well, first of all, he gave me a kick up the arse inspiration wise. He didn't say this on pod, so I'll tell you what he said now.
Called us poured in a fucking bastard.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just like, so you just said that you're getting comfortable with your OnlyFans income. How much are you earning? And I said, well, my best months I'm earning this amount. And he was like, what, are you getting comfortable earning that amount? And I'm like, well, I've come from nothing.
Yeah.
I'm earning more than what most of my friends are. So to me, I don't know what it is. I just feel a little bit more comfortable than I should. He's like, mate, if I went to my business friends and told them I was getting that much a month, they'd be like, is everything all right? Do you need some money? And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. It's a nice perspective shift, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. It's nice to just be in the same room with someone who's got bigger goals than what you've even set yourself out to have. So first of all, the best tip he gave me was speak to everybody, because I get fucking hundreds of messages daily on Instagram, Twitter and everything. And it's just about OnlyFans or private videos or something. I just can't be asked replying to them. Whereas now I'm like, these are the people who are going to fucking build my business. Like we say about having 1,000 raving fans is better than having 1 million views on YouTube or whatever. So now I'm just working on making them fans, and my OnlyFans has boosted back up again since listening to that. So I'm gonna stick to what he said there and not let it fall off, which I did do before. Then with regards to the agency, you've both kind of changed your perspective on that. You from saying that, because obviously Jeremy said this video package, this 8-video package that you're going to be selling for 49 quid, rather than sell that to people who potentially might not actually follow it, because like you say, you can give someone something, but they've got to do the hard work as well. So they might think on the spot, I'll do that, and I'll buy it and I'll do it, but they're not always going to do it. So you've advised me, give them it for free, which, fair enough, I might look at like, I'm going to charge people 50 quid for that. But if I'm giving people this free, valuable content, one, they're going to appreciate it, and some of them might put it into play and make some money. And then two, it's going to give me a call to action on the back of that, where you now know all this information, you know what it takes. If you don't want to do it, let me do the hard work for you, which is where the agency is going to basically start.
An interesting point that I found. So when I spoke to Jeremy, and obviously business comes with money, and that seems to be the reason why people get into money is, ultimately for money and a little bit of freedom for themselves.
100%.
It were interesting how many people, when you have that meeting with Jeremy and you sit down and you're motivated and you're driven, you're like, right, what can I do? How can I achieve this? And it reminds me of a little bit of like the younger me when I had nothing, and you're around these people who've got something and you think, right, fucking, I'm gonna really lean into that and touch and push that and get after it. It's so crazy though that when you go back into your normal life, the amount of people that'll still try and talk you out of it. I said to someone yesterday, the day after the podcast, I was just like, he called us poor, and they were like, well, I'd have done this, and I'm like, well, that's your ego speaking. It's like if someone can communicate to you that, just treat business as a game, right? If that's what you're going to call it, and some people are just playing the game at a far higher level. You have to respect that.
Yeah.
The only thing that it got me thinking about, and I want you to dig into this, I don't know if it's that I've done a lot of businesses and some have failed and some have succeeded. You ultimately know how much work's required to get to that level, which most people just aren't willing to put in. You know that you've got to probably grind the yards out early on with little to no return, and you grow something. Even though I believe the internet can definitely fast track that, you've got the ability to see so many people. Why do you think some people's perspective is that on money? Is it because they've just never had any? Why do people try and talk people out? Well, like try and rip into that?
I don't know what I've been there before, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I've been there before when people have spoke about ideas or something like that. I think it's just fucking people just don't understand that if they do put that hard work in, and it's achievable. I think especially when you brought around here, as soon as you think, let's say when I said to you, my goal now is to make my OnlyFans to 30k a month. If I were to say that to myself when I first started it or last year, I'd have been like, I'm being ridiculous here. Let me set my bar a bit lower. Whereas actually, if I do put the work in and I've proved to myself I will get there. And I think if I said to somebody, oh no, my goal's 30k a month, to just someone around here who's getting $2,000 a month for the job, they'd be like, yeah, good luck with that, mate. You know, because they don't understand it. All it takes is that hard work and consistency. And not a lot of people like to do it. I sometimes, I think, like I said, when I first left my job, I'm like, I'll never fucking go back to working again. I realised that all you have to do is just graft and you'll make it work. Then some days I'm like, and I'll never go back to it, but some days I'm like, maybe I should just go back to that easy life where I'm getting a normal wage.
Where do you think the balance, right, that's a good point. So where's the balance there though? So people who are really close to me, I love, like, you know, my mom and my granddad, and there's some clients that I've got who I do respect, definitely respect. And they'll obviously not talk you out of your dreams, but they'll try and push on you some sort of balance. You know, life's to be lived.
You're working too hard.
Is there a balance? Like, is this fictitious? Obviously, life's harder now. Things cost more money. If you want ultimate freedom and you want to be able to travel and do what you want on your own terms, you need money. That's just, we're in a capitalist society. The fact of the matter is you're going to need money to do what you want to do. Is there a balance point? Or does that never end? And it's just the pursuit of money then? Is that the danger for a lot of people in business?
I think as long as you're being grateful for what you've got and appreciating each milestone that you hit, you're not going to do what Stephen Bartlett did and get to that point and be like, fuck. So for me, I think a balance point in life, to be fair, our lives are probably too balanced at the moment in my eyes. Yeah. Especially from speaking to people like Jeremy.
Yeah.
When he's making points like, oh, I'll say to my girlfriend, we can go and play paddle, and I won't even work that night. And I'm like, for him to gift her just too little, and now we're playing paddle, and I won't work that evening so we can spend it. He must be fucking really grafting every single day for that to be a special treatment for her. Then when we're like getting up and relaxing and doing his cold water therapy and going on walks and doing stuff, I'm like, should I really be grafting that time? You always send me stuff like about going on your laptop first thing in the morning and doing 15 hours a day. I'm like, should that be it? But then I think
that's what got me. Like, when I look back to when I've had any success, that's like, I weren't doing any fucking cold water and walks. I was just getting up and thinking about business, and it would do or die for me that I had to try and I needed to make it work. I think you can definitely fall then into when you get a little bit of safer money and you back your skill set, and you know that, right, if I go and do X and Y, this is probably going to come in each month. It's there or thereabouts. You understand the amount. It's easy to back off the gear then, though. So, but just remember what we're doing as well, mate. We're building a personal brand. We're putting ourselves out there. You're not building your personal brand around business like Jeremy is. So I'm not saying Jeremy's wrong in any fashion, because his facts are bang on. But to me, like, we went on that walk the other day, it's funny when I go back there, because I had that idea of that rich hippies, which were take care of your money. The premise and the understanding where that rich hippie philosophy were, take care of your money. So if you know through the internet, which is what we're intrigued by, or business, whatever you want to call it, online business, if you know that you can build something of value for people and they're exchanging with it all the time, and you know that you've got a monetary figure coming in and it's growing and you've got a brand, then you can live your life. There has to be a balance come into play where you're spending time with friends, and you're discussing life and concepts and pushing. There will be times, I always say this to people, and I have to say this to myself as well to refresh myself. There will be times when you have to sprint, and that time will come again for us where there's going to have to be a full-on sprint.
I say this to younger people who I try, like, let's say Emily, for instance, she's got her own business, she does her skin and laser, and I say to her, just do 6 months or a year of just sacrificing going for avocado on toast on the morning, spending 15 quid and wasting an hour. Just sacrifice seeing your friends and doing this, and just put 6 months hard work. She's like, yeah, but I'm 23. Sometimes I need to live my life, because imagine if you died tomorrow. And I'm like, that just don't make sense. Like, it don't be. Imagine if I said, I'm not going to work anymore, I'm just going to be a fucking bum because I could die tomorrow. That's not the mentality you should have.
Yeah.
And I just try saying it to the people younger than me, because I wish I did it when I was younger. I've got to 30 to realise that. So it's a bit of a shame. That balance point, I think, in an ideal world should come when you've earned yourself that money and you can pay people or employ people to do that shit that you were sprinting to do. Then you can balance your life out a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think whilst we're trying to build it, we're pretty much on our own or as a pair.
A point there as well, sorry to interrupt, is that we probably have to change our mindset and have a shift in his mindset that we're so similar, me and you, in many facets, that we're probably very frugal and tight with his money. And Jeremy brought this up on the podcast that I probably use the control freak as a disguise that I'm just fucking so tight with my money, where we should be delegating and we should be thinking, because you will grow the beast faster. Then, do you know what I'm saying? That's what I've got to try and wrap my head around, that if we're going to play in this internet space and that's what we're going to do, we're going to have to eventually delegate, or we will just be spending, even if when the money starts coming in, you will just be spending all your time doing the thing. The position that we're in, and I'm finding myself, and as I've been doing these cold waters and I've been listening to you, I've been trying to practice gratitude a little bit. Because for me, my default, I don't know if I'm broken inside a little bit, my default will probably always be negative in my own head. Outwardly, I'm probably people's go-to man.
Yeah.
But in my head, you're always questioning yourself. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Is it good enough? The list can go on. But for me there, I'm going to have to eventually delegate. So, because you do need to live your life. Like, even though the point there from M could be the fact that she's just procrastinating on doing what she needs to be done, there will come a point in life, and I think about this a lot, that what life do you want? And as I'm writing at the minute, I'm doing a fair bit of writing, and I'm going to start doing these logs, that the first thing that you need to figure out is what would an ideal day look like? I think I don't even know what that is. So until I've like reverse engineered the game plans, like, how do I actually want to live my life? What are my pursuits? What are my passions? What am I good at? Where's my skill set lie? I think if you don't really map that out, then you never really probably know. Because you could get lost in just a job then that just pays really well, but there's no passion for it. There's no drive. There's no, like, it's not getting you up on a morning. So I think for me and you, there's probably definitely a balance point that, yes, we want to make money. We're driven, we're ambitious, but what makes us happy? And that needs to be the core for me. And it's finding that balance point. And I think if you can align your passions with a business, you'll wake up every day thinking, right, I'm going to grow that brand. I'm going to grow that business. I'm going to push this.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was saying about journaling. And obviously I write my journal. Sometimes before, up until watching this podcast, I was writing what I need to do. Right, I need to do this, and I've got to do that. But then it made it feel like I've got a fucking list of jobs that I've got to do.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a pain. Whereas now it's like, when you do your journal, just write down what you want to do in that day. If you want to take OnlyFans content, put it down. Sound I do, because I want to make money, so I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I've designed the day that I want rather than what I've got to do.
Yeah.
And that's better. And when you were just saying then about looking at what you want the end goal to be, what the happiness is, once you figure out what you need to do to get there, then that's when you do your small goals. That's your daily goals like we talk about.
Yeah. Do you think the word's happiness there? Do you think the word's peace?
I think it's happiness for me.
Yeah. And what does that mean for you?
It's like, I'm not going to say a family on a fucking farm and do it, because I ain't got any of that thing. So it's not like I'm having to take my family that I ain't actually got yet. Happiness for me is being able to just wake up on a morning, have a couple of hours of free time, because I know that the business that I've built is getting taken care of properly by other people. Do what I need to do, gratitude-wise and health and fitness-wise, train, live my life a bit, see family and friends, and then get stuck into whichever part of the business I'm passionate about. So let's say if it's the podcast, I know that my day might just be coming and filming or even filming a couple of podcasts a day.
Yeah.
That would make me happy. As long as I know that I've got that time back where we normally spend fucking 6 to 7 hours editing it. Someone else is doing that, so then we can do something else on the night, do some lifestyle stuff. That's
lifestyle stuff, and ultimately make more content then, can't you? That's the key for me. Is if we want to get good in this domain and this area, then we need to be speaking and conversating more, because that's the game that we're in if we're doing podcasts.
Did you speak to your mate yesterday, were it? About the VA?
No, but we'll go see, shout out Ryan Moore. Yeah. He's built a business for himself, and he's using virtual assistants in the Philippines. And apparently, they're skilled, and the obviously they don't require as much money as people over here, and they're probably more efficient. It's like hard over here at the minute. Changing gears a little bit. Obviously, we use AI a fair bit. The government are trying to actually legislate against AI at the minute, and the conspiracy theorist in me, even though I've not read the headlines fully, I've just been a bit of a headline reader. For me, I honestly think that AI and the internet will displace a lot of jobs, especially automation and robotics. I know it's a bit of a nerdy thing to speak about, but a lot of the jobs that people have at the minute will become obsolete, I believe, through technology and through advancement. So there's going to be a big job displacement there, and where are those people going to go? Because people aren't getting skilled. That's the key to start with. You mentioned something earlier in the pod about belief, and before the belief, you can have belief in yourself, but I go back to my network marketing days where I didn't have any skills. So if I don't have the skills, the belief's good and the faith's good, but I'm not going to be able to action that. So for me, we're always get good at something first, and try and have a good understanding of read on what's going to be required society-based, and sit and think about that. So look at your passions, look where can I get skilled, and look at just what you've done with video editing and your ability now to be a graphic designer, pretty much, with the ability that you've got on the software you use there to create visuals. These are all skills that you're acquiring. Being able to speak at length, it's a skill, and putting proposals together and all stuff like this that you're creating, it's a skill. So once you've got the skill, I used to teach this to some of my distributors. Well, you want to raise the bar then. So for me, you need the belief first, because you need the faith and the belief that, well, if I'm gonna go do this work, and I'm gonna sacrifice a big chunk of my day, a big chunk of my life to go and pursue this, you need belief and faith.
Yeah, too right.
The action then comes, and then you get the results. That's what you teach that in my head, belief, have that belief that if I'm gonna go and do this, I'm gonna do it all the way.
Well, if you ain't got that belief, let's say if I'm good at making thumbnails, and I'm let's say if that's all I do, I design thumbnails for people, but then I look at someone else's thumbnail, and I'm I'm never going to get to that fucking standard. As soon as you lose that belief, mate, you bailed on that pretty much. If I just look and I'm I know if I just carry on doing what I'm doing, I'm going to get better than that.
Yeah.
That's just the difference between disbelief and belief.
And then it's the action point, and most people, which I find is just, I don't know if it's a UK thing, there's probably people in the UK who don't do this, obviously, but doing the action for long enough. I've started many a podcast and just not been aligned with the right people or the right partners. It seems to go away because there's so much that work that goes into getting something off the ground if you want to do it to a good standard, but you've got to have expectations in your head that, listen, this might take 18 months to even gather any sort of positive momentum, and then the result will come. That's why Bennett asked me downstairs, he's like, why are you putting yourself around these fighters? I don't know if he's asking the question in a negative tone or he's asking just in general. But usually what you find with fighters, they've got that system boxed off for that 12-week when they're fighting. They've got the belief that they're going to win. They put the action in, and then if you've trained hard and you've done what you said you're going to do, you'll get the result. And that's zoom that out. That's what just life's about, pretty much. And that's what you can learn a lot from these fighters, because they've just committed themselves to that craft of what they're doing. And if they've done it right, and they've got the skills are important, then you can get the result. And I think that's big for a lot of people out there. And I think a lot of people are missing that at the minute. And when I've been doing this journaling, I think you've got to really map out what you want and what you want to do, because if you don't do that, you're going to be in someone else's plan.
Going back to that as well, what you just said about figuring out what you want to do and then mapping it out. He'll probably be watching this, my cousin Keegan, shout out. He messaged me and we've had a little bit of a conversation, and it's one of them. I've had the message plenty of times by people oh, can I jump in, and is there something I can do? We're not fucking millionaires with a successful business right now, so it's hard to say, yeah, come on and do this. Plus, my plan would be to retire my mum and dad before anybody else. But
you know what the key there is, and I want you to go back to that point. When I started, you'd work for free. This is what I don't know if it's, I'm not saying it's always the right thing because people need money, but if you can see that someone's shining and you can see that someone's doing the work, the pushing and the getting after it, you would learn more from the approach there of, let me just see if I can get round them people for free initially.
Well, this is what he said.
These are like life lessons, isn't
He has said that. He said, I want to just spend some time with you and Josh, which is all good and well. But let's be honest, if he comes and sits in a room with us and we ain't got time to teach and show, look, this is what we do. But he just wants to be around us and watch what we do, which I just said to him, you probably won't understand what's even going on. Like sometimes when I watch you edit, I'm just like, I can just see you moving everything fast and I'm like, it's too fast for me to even learn.
Yeah.
But what I've said to him is, there's nothing I can get you involved in right now apart from the OnlyFans agency stuff, which probably will be coming up. But even then, unless you actually know how to approach people to recruit them for the agency, or unless you know how to run an account or edit stuff, it's not going to be any good to you. So find out what you're good at. I noticed that he put loads of size on over space of a year from training. If he likes fitness, I could have helped in that way and be like, now start filming little fitness things. I'll show you and teach you what Jeremy's taught us. But he's like, oh, I just don't know what I'm good at yet. And I'm like, you need to find something that you're good at, that you're better than the average person at, and work with that. But I don't know if he's figured it out yet, but he might come back to me in a couple of weeks or whatever and say, all right, this is what I want to do. Then it'll be good for him to jump in and explore that. But for now, when people message you saying that sort of stuff, there's not a lot you can do, is there?
Changing gears again, we're going to really push, and I've been thinking about this. We went and filmed that vlog yesterday, and I think that came out real well. And that was just literally, let's be honest, it were an afternoon of work. We didn't put hours and hours in, but we showed that we can put them vlogs out there. I really want to focus on these day in the life,
bro. I've
just seen Christy commented on the post, and we're going to go up to Carlisle and film a day in the life. I think that'd be a proper insight into these people's, like, the characters and the guests we've had on, to be able to go up and spend a day with them. If we can get them comfortable and really opening up, I think we can show some good insights there into people. I think Christy's will be a fucking belter.
Yeah, mate. Listen, I love doing podcasts, but I think vlogging, if we could do that more often and get comfortable, because I love watching vlogs sometimes more than podcasts. If I watch like Nelt Boys or whatever, their videos and how they get better all the time. And bro, that's the first vlog we've done in a while, and it came out well. Everyone spoke properly. Like, I even messaged you last night. The man said, "Fucking." Compared to,
and that was us just playing it, really.
Yeah,
wasn't
it's just playing with one camera, no fucking crazy stuff, nothing planned whatsoever, just going off the cuff, and it's still, you managed to tell a story without edit. So fucking fair play to you. But yeah, I want to. We definitely. I said we need to get a date booked in. Yeah. I think 2 weeks today would be good. I think it's the 28th. Yeah, 2 weeks today.
Yeah, we could do that, and that's before fight on first of July, and then I'm away. No, I'm away on the 2nd, I think.
Yeah,
so that'll work. Give us time to edit and get it out there and see what it's about up in Carlisle. Come by.
Yeah, and then what's Robbie's name? Robbie was doing all the fighting with.
Oh, Robbie Keane.
No, not Robbie Keane. He's the guy doing all the fucking. He's doing Danny Mitchell's thing right now.
I thought it was Keane. I could be wrong there.
No, let me find him.
But yeah, he.
We could do.
He's a lively. He's a lively one, isn't he? He's. What's the rules in that? So Paul Venice, fair play man in that. So I get this, but I want him to understand the legalities there.
Robbie Brown is.
Robbie Brown, sorry. If someone gets hurt in that, what's the
bro, legal wise, I think
are they signing fucking waivers? What's the rules?
Nah, they ain't signing shit, mate. They can't even write, most of these guys. If somebody dies on that day, mate, whoever fucking kills them is getting done for manslaughter.
Fucking hell, mate. So you've got that fucking over your head, haven't you?
But to be fair, I don't think they're fucking asked about going to prison for a bit of manslaughter.
What did you think to that fight? I watched it back. Obviously, Decker's an handful. He's big, he's strong, he's tough. He can fight with his hands clearly. It's just a completely different world when there's the ability to get tucked down and fight off your back.
Well, Danny and Robbie have both said it well, mate. If you know basic jiu, I know he's not a basic fighter, and Robbie is a pro MMA fighter in his past. If you just have a basic knowledge on how to wrestle someone to the ground and control them, don't matter how light you are or how much heavier they are.
I remember this with you at 18. You took me to we're at Ultimate Physiques.
Ultimate MMA.
And wherever, like, I was strong then. Like probably my prime of being like bodybuilding and that stuff.
Yeah.
But you just couldn't. I could not. I'd have died 15 times. It's like it's the ultimate checkout, and it's like you could just squeeze me to death. And it's an interesting dynamic. That, how come you don't train jiu-jitsu anymore?
I think it's these old knees and shit, mate. 'Cause when you're doing a lot of grappling, you're always on your knees,
Yeah.
and you're doing. I don't know. I think I just fell out of love with it for a bit. To be fair, if I went back to it now, I'd probably take to it like a fish to water, mate.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to compete in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You see people now who've been training for 3 or 4 years and they just get the blue belt. And
Do you back yourself that if an altercation happened on the street, though, you'd still be able to revert back to some of the skills that you've learned?
100%, mate. You don't forget it with jiu-jitsu. All it's like riding a bike, but if it did end up going to the floor, I'm confident I'd still be able to do bits on the floor as well.
Just visualise you like triangle choking someone outside
And
bigger
just
than
fucking
that.
triangle and just rain a few of them in, mate. But going back to the Decker fight, mate, listen, he's a tough kid. Obviously, he fought Christie. He's fighting people now. He's probably knocking on a little bit. He's a big set. He's just too beatable by anybody who's got more skill set than just fucking hands. Like Robbie just took him down, just elbowed life out of him. Same with whatever that other guy's called who Robbie fought on that bridge. That big guy just threw one big stupid punch that you'd never throw in a fight. Robbie just fucking pinned him. Probably 3 or 4 stone lighter than him. Just pinned him. Couldn't even move and just fucking rained elbows and punches on him. He's a tough kid, that Robbie, mate. I think he messaged me yesterday. Says he's over in France working at the moment. As soon as he's back, he wants to come on pod. So I think that'll be an interesting one, mate.
Whereabouts are you from?
He's from
Newcastle, Middlesbrough way.
What's the other town that's...
Sunderland.
No, there's one more.
He's up there somewhere, northeast.
He's up that way. But yeah, I think he's definitely up for coming over. What else is happening in the world right now?
Well, I got my fucking profile robbed, didn't I, mate? Fucking Kev. Big Kev.
Do you know what the worst thing is? That must be somebody you know. Like how they can't randomly wouldn't just come across and take your profile. And Amy's as well.
Yeah, Maria and Kev. But the funny thing with that, mate, is the fucking screenshot of my reels is like, then they posted them as
Were they tagging each other? Were they tagging like you and Amy's fake profile in pictures? Because they could have done that, really.
We joked yesterday, Ellis at the minute's reading Chimp Paradox, which for people that have not read that, we've all got a chimp inside us, and sometimes it comes out when we don't want it to come out, and how we act and speak to other people, and it can happen. Like me back in the day there, if someone would have done that, I took that real personal. Even though it's something trivial, gives a fuck. Someone stole your pictures, it's fucking hell. Probably making a bit of money on it, respect if they're making some money out of it or doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah, man.
But that just shows how far I've come, because that'd have been a fucking... I would have had to find out who it was. I'd have just took it so personal.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is this geezer?
You nearly got me scammed the other day, mate, You know, from just being like, oh, it's only 50 quid, just fucking invest it. Like, I could have just lost 50 quid like that. Because this profile that
let's give some context. What I've said to you is that if you've got some cash flow coming in and you've got some ambition, we need to get around people who have done better than us. So maybe I've said yes to that 50 quid, but that, if we're looking at contextual and in the grand scheme of things, you shouldn't be spending 50 quid on mentorship. The mentorship's going to be poor. I think for you there, you need to be getting around people who have really built these agencies up and learn from them for a month or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's one thing Jeremy said that I'm definitely 100% going to do. But I struggled to find any decent agencies yesterday.
Yeah.
But the way that you nearly got me scammed, and mate, it's fucking crazy, because it was a profile that had like 20k followers on it. And they were just so consistent, saying, look, I can do this. This is sending me screenshots of proof of what they've earned people and shit. And then I went to go send them the money, and it said like fucking Arnold Kumar or something like that. And I was like, fucking what are you on about? It was like, that's the business name. I was like, nah, get fucked. And then I got a follow off another similar profile of a girl who does OnlyFans from Manchester, who I knew it were a different profile. I just messaged him straight away saying, how are you doing, Kumar? Just read it and didn't reply to him. Fucking mad guy. Have you seen
these people just like in fucking Bangladesh and that, just trying to scam folk for
1,000%, that's all they're doing. 100%. I'm sure they get taught it in school.
You think?
Over there. There's something funny about it.
What else has been going on, mate? I've seen Jack. He's just been carried out of Ibiza. They said there were a wheelchair waiting for him.
How is he hitting it so hard, mate? Do you think there's drugs involved?
I like to think so.
Do you reckon?
I like to think so. I could be wrong.
He don't look and act like he's on it, like. But
the primed athletes as well. So he can probably have a 3-day bender. He's probably earned that, mate. They've just won treble, haven't they? So respect. You've got a big thing. I believe there is you've got to celebrate your successes. And at that level, with all that pressure, why not? They've got all money in the world. They're living a life anyone could dream of. They're getting paid big money. I think he's one of the highest paid ones to probably do something that he'd do for free. He just get to do it on the world stage where everyone's watching. So for him to, I think everyone's like respected the partying, even though it's like degenerate behaviour. I think people have thought, fucking, they've deserved that.
Oh, bro, everyone on social media.
You see when he said feed the turkey? You see that? He went, I'm sure he said turkey. We were like on stage and there were like presenters there and they were showing the trophies off and whatnot. And obviously they've been out for fucking 2 days or some full blown bender. and he wouldn't give the mic back to the presenter, and he was just like, the turkey needs feeding. I didn't know what that meant.
There'll be some sort of inside joke.
The Belvedere vodka, so like feed the turkey, and then feeding him Belvedere vodka on stage. I thought feed the turkey was some sexual fucking.
Yeah, 100%. They're all gonna fucking go and smash some bird tonight.
Are you going to open up about relationship, or you don't want to dive into that?
It's all up in air, mate. So there's no I can even really fucking dive into. To be honest, my mind's like in two ways. In a part of me like. Do I go single, focus on business more, no distractions, no stress, none of that shit. But then the issue that's going on at the moment is fucking so minor. It's just that I just can't be arsed with them minor inconveniences. It's just little tick for tack shit that bothers me. But the last 2 or 3 things that I've brought up to her that have been bothering me, she's worked on, and we had a phone call the other day, and she was like, the last couple of things I've changed, and I've not like I'll stop this. Like I didn't know it was such a big issue, and I'm like, well. Listen, I don't know. The pros massively outweigh the cons in the relationship. It's just, I don't know, give it a couple of days, see how I feel. Probably give them an update, mate. Well, either way, I've started filming a fucking breakup vlog just in case. I'm just going to document my own breakup, and then if it ever happens again, I can just look back at it.
I was awful at breakups, mate.
Really?
Yeah, because as I've grown, it was like more of an abandonment thing from being a kid. So I used to just like probably... When you'd break up with someone, even though it were always my fault, you know, I either weren't the man that I was portraying, or things just didn't seem to work out the way that I thought they were going to work out, and then the woman's in the right to leave, or vice versa. The man usually there, what I found from my experience, you start destructive tendencies, you go out partying, taking drugs, fucking maybe cheating, fucking, you know what comes with that. It's only going to lead one way. And you've just concreted their decision there that you're not the man you said, whereas... Yeah. Whereas now, you mentioned something earlier in the pod, which is a big thing for me. It's like one of the main drivers for me now, with the stable relationship and the happy relationship I've got, is to create a home. That's a big driver for me now. So I think that I've never really had that feeling. I always just sort of floated about a bit. You know, I never really cared where I lived. I could have lived in a fucking room this size. It did not bother me. So I think at 34 years old, I'm probably starting to just grow up a little bit and understand that, right? You know, a big thing for that is like, I read a lot of books about relationships, but just also, I'm not saying I believe in everything Tate says because I don't fully understand his message and I've not dived deep enough into it. But something that Tate said that rings well with me is, and I've got this perfect at home, is that when you go home, that's your peace then. And if that can be created and that's adding to your pot, it's not distracting from it. And I just think in any relationship, probably even yours there, it's just, there's probably a little bit of wiggle room to find out where people lie in it and how we communicate with each other and what we do. Any relationship can be worked on. And one thing I'll say to you, like, me and you have had a lot of chats off camera. Only you know what you want to do. So you've just got to sit on that and you've got to try and digest that and think that. But grass ain't always greener. I don't think I could be really thinking honestly now. Listen, there's fun parts that come with being single, and all lads know what that is. But I think that can definitely pull away from business and can definitely pull away from pushing, because you're going to be spending so much time just chasing tail and fucking around and all stuff like that. And you're always going to have that headache of that. Even though there's like positives when you meet a new bird, there's also like, you've got to go through that process again and again and again and again. And I just don't think I've got that energy, me.
No, that's what's in my head. I'm like, the pros of becoming single would be a single life. Would it be less stress, or would I be stressed out thinking, fuck me, I ain't got a bird to fucking come back to, or what? If I were trying to shag birds, I'd be spending too much time texting birds or texting a couple of birds at the same time, which is not what I want. I've fucking done that in past enough. Yeah. And then there's the hassle of having to explain to birds when you meet them, listen, I'm not going to get serious. It's not going to be a relationship thing, which also just causes more like, all right, well, I don't want anything to do with you. Then like, fucking, oh, nice one. That's another 2 weeks wasted. Just playing that shit. And then the other card you can play is, right, no women unless it comes. I'm not going to fucking organise to meet and it can't be our talking to. But then you start to feel a bit like insecure, like, fucking hell, why have I got no birds like coming? Yeah. There's a bit of an head fuck in it, but the difference between me and you've got that home to go to, your peace to go to. When I go home, obviously I live on my own. Emily's only there every 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah. When I go home, mate, I'm fucking either working or sleeping. Yeah. I don't really sit and watch telly anymore. I don't chill out. Last night I worked till 11:15 and then I fucking got in bed, slept, woke up this morning.
So do you think you like that idea of having a safe home then? Would that be like a bit of a dream for you?
if there was someone there that's like gonna fully be an asset to my life and my business, like the last thing I want to do is come home to a bed and they'll be like, where have you been? Why have you been working so late? Well, what, so you haven't been with anybody else? Like, no, I've just been fucking...
Yeah, the default thinking is that versus he's back.
Yeah, like, well, buzzing, have you had a good day? Oh, I bet you've been busy, I bet you're tired, do you want a bath running? Like that.
Yeah.
But some people you don't see it in, but until you live with them. Like my fucking ex before that, mate, before we moved in together, she made out as if she was going to be the fucking best housewife, cleaner, fucking everything in the world. As soon as we got through them doors, mate, dressing gown got on, TV got turned on with a bag of popcorn, and that was fucking...
That's all she wrote.
That was it, mate. Big fucking Red Cross from that day, but you don't know until you move in.
Do you think you attract dig into this? Like, what's the deal there?
Maybe.
I think you're a bit of a want to fix these people.
I am. I watched a podcast and they said it the other day. It's like a lot of men are naturally just want to fix people. They see it as a challenge. They feel like, I'm going to make this person's life super good because they've had this fucking toxic relationship or they've had this shit upbringing, and I'm like, right, I'm gonna show them that life's better than that.
Yeah.
Then you get to it, but the issue with that is the more effort you put in to change that, the more they take it for granted, and then it seems like they're throwing it back in your face.
Yeah.
So I knew that my ex had a bit of a shit upbringing, and she was in broken homes constantly, and she's suffered with stress or anxiety or whatever, and all that shit that came with it. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to fucking get an house, show that she deserves a decent house, and I'm going to buy her this dog so she's got a companion, that, and it just fucking, as soon as they stop like reciprocating that back to you, or you come home to a dirty house and then you have to clean it up, and then they just argue with you for like mentioning the fact that the house is dirty and stuff like that. I'm just like, I just really fucking give this person a better life for that.
Yeah.
For that disrespect. So I think probably trying to go for them fucking broken people is not good. You want somebody who's got a, what did you say, untainted past? Is that what you call it?
Well, I think that's what Tate says, doesn't he? And I get that. Listen, if you were to, some of the Tate's points, the lads can chime in on this, that if you were to pick between someone who's had, like, it's basics to me, and it seems to cause uproar, that someone who's had no trauma and less sexual partners versus someone who's tainted and got more, like, come on, to me,
it's a no-brainer.
Some people, I listened to it on the Nelk Boys where someone was saying they'd pick the ones with the experience, but come on, would you?
No,
I mean, that's a naive fucking... and I think that's probably someone who's not done much shagging.
Yeah, 100%. That's someone who's a bit insecure. They're like, no, I want the girl who's got more sex experience. No, you don't.
Yeah, you want
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, and I think for the other thing that I watched recently on the reel that we're doing the rounds, where like a woman was on a podcast with Tate and she was saying, I want someone who can, I don't know if she used the word control or...
Handle.
No man, trust me on this, wants to fucking have to handle a woman when they come home from work.
Bro.
Or they've been doing... What? They just don't want that.
Why do women think that...
I think it's
men want to handle them. Like,
I think it's this. I think the feminist movement's brought this rise to that equality across the board. So they have to become these strong women, which I'm not against women being strong. Obviously,
but do you ever see a man saying, "Oh, I need a woman that can handle me and handle my lifestyle"? Like, fair enough, yeah. As in business, someone who can handle the fact I'm working.
Yeah, maybe some people whose egos got away from them. Like, there were probably points where I weren't in me right, and you had these expectations of what should have happened, but ultimately now how I think about it is it making your life better, and are you moving in the right path? So if you look at the word, it's relationship. So like you've chose to do it together. The ship is, well, where's it heading? And if you're not aligned with those coordinates, then it's just going to be fucking chaos. So like looking at the actual word, it's weird because I know you always joke about this open relationship thing. When I read about these books, not that I'm like pro or against open relationships, I don't know enough about it, but most couples don't really sit down and really address where they're going, or what are the goals of the relationship, and even what are the rules. The rules for relationships, if you really think about it, is just things that you've learned from school. Can't cheat, can't do this, can't do that. It's all stuff that's just sort of like unspoken about. Like, I ain't sit down with Amy and says, well, I couldn't go out and shag, or I couldn't go out. I don't do it, but I mean, there's no... we've asked each other to be boyfriend, girlfriend, therefore we don't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And that...
It were, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Gives a clue.
The financial man we had on.
Joe Woodhouse.
He, every Sunday, he was saying it's a non-negotiable that they sit down and they plan out their week, and it's a proper partnership. Like, it's like a proper partnership. And I think I could definitely learn from that, of just having your partner on side. Because my missus always wants to help, but it's sometimes my mind's so chaotic and my mind's so busy that you don't really take the time just to be present and sit down like, where do we want to be? What do we want to do? I think that's important, because if you're in alignment, then the pettiness probably won't rise as much, because you're like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're doing it, and this is why I'm doing this. It's probably sometimes getting the women on side to understand the bigger picture and the why. That to me is like just how I feel, and try and process it. I think that's important, and it's hard to communicate that sometimes. I'm not good at it, so it's something that I've got to learn and develop, because you're building strong bonds then with people, and if people know where you're at and you can effectively communicate that, then it should be reciprocal. Just how I feel.
I've noticed it with my own mum and dad. I'll go see him. My mum will be in the kitchen. I'll see him with my dad. He'll go, she's doing my fucking head. And I'm like, why? And he's like, just fucking, I come home at fucking washes. I'm like, do you say out to her? And he's like, no, I just fucking do it. I'm like, just say to her then when you come in. Why you haven't been at work today? I've been off, working hard, not being funny, but fucking I don't want to be cleaning up. And he's like, it's not worth it. So I'm like, yeah, because then you keep it in your mind and then you fucking wait 3 days to tell me about it. She's probably going to hear us talking about it anyway. You're probably going to argue about it once I've gone.
Yeah.
Start talking to each other.
Yeah.
My mum will do the same thing. She's like, oh, well, he don't want to know anyway. He'll just go out with you. He'll just take Sarah, my sister, out. He'll just go take her to rugby and I'll just do this. And I'm like, fuck me. You two just need to talk to each other, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder why it breaks down. I wonder if when your parents have been together so long that you sometimes just drift apart.
Yeah.
Because then, this is an interesting point. It's even in a relationship, it's sometimes been open that even, I think the era before was like your mum and dad there. There's probably been turbulence and times in a relationship where they've questioned it, but maybe when you're that ingrained and that rooted to it, that you just all you've known anyway, so you don't really want to change or upset the apple cart. Because some relationships just, this person's going in this direction, this person's going that, and they ain't going to be in alignment then at all. So it's just trying to understand that for me is...
I think they've just been in that same routine for so long. My mum's been a teaching assistant for fucking 30 years. My dad's worked for Mitsubishi for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
He goes to do his work in a factory. She goes to school. They'll come back, probably argue about who's going to make tea and clean up. Do the same again. Argue about my sister. It's just that shit cycle. And I'm not being funny, mate. They're not in any mindset to even change it. I gave her one of my books that I read that's helped me a lot, especially after my breakup.
I've been trying to I'm toying with the idea of making my mum do DMT.
Really?
I mean, my mum's onto a lot. My mum's like nervous energy like me, but she's such a loving person and a good person. She'll do out for me and for my family. But I don't think her cope was helping others and not helping herself first. And I put a post the other day, like, you know, when you're on an airplane and the masks come down, what they always teach you?
Put it on your kids. Put it on yourself.
Put on yourself first. And there's a lesson in that. Like, if you're not looking after yourself fully, you're just out of alignment. Again, I go back to that word there, and that's so important. I mean, mum, for what she's been through, I don't think she ever really dealt with it. So, like, that's when alcohol creeps in. She's not, like, fat or overweight, but you can just see that you're not nurturing or giving back to your body and your spiritual side of yourself. And that's something that I've had to really work on, because I understood that. Do you know what I'm saying? If I don't fix that and I don't remedy myself, who am I to speak to anyone else and offer advice if I'm not, like, being that person?
Yeah.
And I've just reverted back to that now as I'm writing these programs and writing these plans. It's like, who do I want to be? What sort of person do I want to be? What is my North Star? And I keep saying that, and it's a tough question to ask. Sorry, a tough question to answer. Is what is the North Star? Because you have to find meaning in things, and if you don't find meaning in things, everything's pointless anyway. So it's going back to that gratitude, what you talk about. I know these are deep concepts, but if you can't find meaning in basic things, what is the point? And to me, life's probably about that. It's finding meaning in things, being present, being social, and creating. These are the pillars that you'll always revert back to. So creating is in many forms, in it. It can be in a physical body, it can be in a spiritual body, it could be in a business. It comes back to some core basics. That's why I always think, you know, with these people like Jeremy who are creating digital products, and this space is going to get more and more populated, but there'll be only be a few real ones in that group. Some of the real ones will probably never make programs, and they're probably some of the best programs that people would buy.
Yeah.
But I feel like now you've got to really peel the curtain back. Is that person actually about that? Have they done the work? Have they done the hard yards? Have they been? That's why I love being around people and listening to Danny Christie's story. I revisit Danny Christie's podcast, but it's like, I'm not going to dig into Danny Christie's past, and I don't care about his past. I'm more bothered about what he's overcome and what he's done.
Yeah.
So that's the key for me. Are you on some sort of journey? I don't really know where I'm going with that, but just
I know what you're saying.
that's what people need to wrap their head around, and reverting back to that North Star. That if anyone's watching this today, that if you could just sit and journal in peace for half an hour, undistracted, and really try and map out what you want, you'd be 99% further ahead than most. But most won't do that basic thing. They'll plan out the fucking Sky Planner and the Netflix. We're going to watch this tonight. That list goes on. But they haven't thought about the dome and what they want to achieve and what's going to get them excited. And it's probably the government. If you look to the government to try and help you with this, or you'll even look to teachers, they ain't in any sort of mindset to be able to figure that out for you, and probably don't want to.
They're probably struggling themselves.
Yeah.
They probably ain't got their own shit figured out. A lot of people don't want to be honest with themselves either. I did it the other day. I wrote down a list of where I'm at right now, how much money I've got, how much I'm earning, what I'm spending, how happy I am, how good my relationship is, how good my friendships are, how good my relationship with my family is. And I just wrote down if some of it was shit, I'm like, to be fair, I'm only seeing them once a week. It's pretty shit. My relationship, it's steady. It's about 6 at the moment. Just wrote a list down of what I'm seriously honest with myself about. And then I thought, right, how can I work on that? Right, I'll start speaking to my mum and dad more often. I'm going to stop speaking to these friends because they don't speak to me. Be honest with yourself, be critical, then think about how you can make it better, and then just fucking think about what you want. I still ain't got a North Star. I don't know where I want to be at, but it's because I'm too focused right now on trying to get shit together. We've got a lot going on at the moment, so it's hard to just sit and I think once we get everything properly, we're getting his new HQ, we get a system going, we might get a VA or a videographer or something like that, someone that can just take a bit of a workload off us, and when we've got that spare time, we can have a real fucking sit down. But I think for now, I'm just focusing on
sometimes the chaos is good. You want to be in the dirt, you want to be getting dirty, but eventually there's going to have to be some order to that. So if you've got like a pendulum swing there, you've got the chaos here, which you want to be in when you're creating. But
yeah,
I think order's also very important.
That's why I try to do the morning routine as order, because apart from that, rest of my day is chaos pretty much.
Yeah,
training, editing, making content, thinking about what I can do to fucking do more content, stressing about shit to do with fucking me social media being shadow banned and stuff like that.
Yeah,
mate.
it's fucking crazy.
It's a lot of stress, but
I think the point there that we need to learn from is we probably have to just, because we're in a partnership now with this business, we're splitting the cost and we can delegate this out. We could have a VA who's probably working for us full time for what? It might be 200-300 quid each a month.
we need to do it.
It's an easy play for us, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to stop being control freaks, show them how we want it editing.
I think it's just because they operate from a position of that I've fucking still got nothing.
Yeah.
And I always think, it's a negative cycle and a negative pattern I've got. I just always think it's just one day just going to disappear anyway. Which you are going to fucking die eventually, so you got to fucking think of it like that way. We'll all fucking eventually disappear, but you've got to back yourself for right now and try and create the best life possible. That needs to be the key. The thing that Jeremy brought up, and we'll also discuss this, is he asked us, why do we live here? And that was quite a valid point that he brought up. And there's truth in that point, you know. Obviously with the internet we can put it out and put it anywhere and everyone can see it, but for where we live, the opportunities that we've got around here is probably fairly limited for what we do. And he will like either move to the city or find somewhere else to probably set up shop, which is probably something that we have to be calculated on, think about, seriously consider it. If where we build this personal brand, if it's here. It's a serious, It's a serious consideration, I think, that.
My house is sold and I'll be out there in September. I can do my OnlyFans from anywhere in the world. I can run the agency from anywhere in the world.
Podcast can be anywhere. Couch, take his equipment.
I don't want to stay here for much longer.
In next 18 months, I think we need to have a concrete and definite decision of where we're going to build this brand. Because I feel like end of this year, if we're consistent with pushing this out and people seem to be fairly receptive to what we do and it grows and it develops into something that we think it can be, I think it'll play his hand anyway then.
Yeah.
Especially when we start going and we've got some good lads from the Twitter space who are growth partners who were going to meet up and they're going to do a podcast together. I just when we start putting ourselves around these people, and we're smart lads. If they keep saying the same thing to us, why the fuck are you living around here?
Yeah.
Well, it's just going to probably play his hand anyway, that to be like, where is the opportunity? And is it a bit of disruption for moving home? In the grand scheme of things, it don't really matter. If you're moving towards that target and you're moving towards that North Star, which is, we want to build a personal brand. I always go back to that. It's like, if I weren't getting, say money weren't a thing, so there were no financial gain, how would you spend your day? I think I know how I'd do mine.
Mine have been not too far off.
Not too different. Some of the client services, no, because
active and fitness wise, I'll be doing the same shit as what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And then I enjoy creating content. I'm not making money from fucking anything I'm putting on social media, but I enjoy putting stuff on Instagram and in fucking.
Yeah, but I think you're smart enough to understand that eventually it gets reciprocated and it flows back.
Yeah, but I'm
like
not worried
to think
about that though. I'm not thinking.
Yeah, you do this for free, even if it will continually just keep doing it because it's fun. Mm-hmm. Podcasts are counselling. Like, when do you get to sit and just talk for an hour anyway?
And the fact that we'd be able to keep boosting his guests up and do what Nelt boys are doing. They've worked their way up from fucking, I don't know who they've had on the first couple of podcasts. Now they're getting fucking Donald Trump on, big NBA stars, massive actors and shit like that. Imagine being able to sit down with, I'm not going to say fucking Piers Morgan or something like that because they're all fucking cranks, but.
We were saying that it'd be great to have, I think some of my dream guests would be like, I'd like to sit with Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
I'd definitely like to sit with,
like
your Dana White, McGregor. There'd be some actors in there that I'd probably handpick. You don't see DiCaprio's life story I'd like to learn, is it? He's one of my favourite actors, him.
I don't think he's in. He's got that much fucking cash, mate. And he's probably just all he
He's
cares
always
about is
fucking,
shagging
he's always
and
fucking young chicks, isn't he? What a guy.
Mate, can't blame him. Not at all. I've got the same mentality, but he just got way more money.
I just imagine females round DiCaprio with the characters that he's played, because he was Jack on Titanic.
Yeah.
I know he was young on that, but I reckon Birds just were like, it's fucking Jack from Titanic. You know what I'm saying?
Mate, the birds that he's shagging didn't even know what fucking Titanic was.
I think first part of his protocol would be, let's fucking sit and watch Titanic together.
Do you think?
Yeah, that'd be, imagine that. What, fucking Netflix and chill, and he just puts Titanic on 4 hours. He'd be finger blasting him within half an hour. Do you know what I think?
Yeah, fucking 100% would, but I don't think you'd want to sit and watch yourself for fucking.
No, what if you put Wolf of Wall Street on?
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, maybe. I wonder if actors like this will actually sit back and watch their own films.
They watch them at premieres usually.
Yeah.
So they'll do premieres where they go watch it with a live audience, because you know what I think what they do with some films, they'll get the edit to a certain level and then they'll sit and watch it with a live audience so they can see reactions.
Yeah.
So if they can see, right, this scene didn't really pop, this scene popped, make more of that scene. I think, is it Scorsese who did Wolf of Wall Street? I think he's a right stickler for that.
Is he?
They want to see live audiences. They want to see Flash time. You see that?
Yeah, what it that?
God knows. That's time from God.
Lightning or something.
Is it 11:11? If it is, man, I'm going to lose my head. 11:37. But yeah, Scorsese and stuff, I think they're real sticklers for that. You can learn a lot from them, how they edit. Like, they're long, drawn-out projects. And I think DiCaprio there, he's brought some quality films out. He was so late to win an Oscar as well, him. And he won it for one that I weren't a big fan of.
Have you watched him on the island? The Thailand one?
No. Oh, no, yeah. The beach, it's called The Beach.
The Beach, sorry, not the island. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
Bro, my favourite film of him is Shutter Island.
Good. I like Inception, but you don't like it, do you?
No, I don't like all that. It's a bit too crazy. We all fucking world moving and shit. I
think you know what I'd like to have seen DiCaprio in? I think if they could have found a space for him in The Hangover, I feel he could have played a real good role in that.
Yeah.
But he, what's the other geezer called? The good-looking guy in that?
Is it Brad Summit?
Yeah. He's good in it.
I'm not good with fucking names on that. It's me. But yeah, he is good. Are you going to do some DMT?
I think I'm ready. I've been really, for me, I know I do. I've still got some bad habits with like American Spirit tobacco and a few bad habits there's some vices still in the mix. But in terms of like feeling good, I feel other than fucking hay fever, which I don't know what's going on with that. I feel fresh and I feel good. I feel alive. So just getting that in order. I don't think you should definitely do DMT when you're in a low spot. I know it can definitely. I'm surmising it can pull you out of that. But I think if you do it optimally and you feel great and you're in a good headspace, the trip is going to be much more enlightening and much more in depth because your vessel's clean. I mean, when I used to do mushroom trips, I used to treat it real serious.
Really?
Body were great, body were primed. Getting nature that morning, we used to do the shake at around 10 o'clock. And looking back, I was taking way too much. So I remember the first trip that I ever did on psilocybin was, for me, and I'm sensitive, you know what I'm like with psychedelics, like 3.5 grams in a shake, and there was just no coming back from it. I remember taking it, and if people have took mushrooms, you feel the cold in your limbs, and you feel it like come up all the way into your heart. And I just used to just feel position and just pray to God I'd survive it.
You get that little sicky feeling.
I used to always feel a little bit sick, but that's why I used to do it fasted.
What are the mushrooms when you saw flames?
So I come out from a second mushroom trip, which I did with the same guy, Ian. I won't say his surname. And I come round from it, and I come from round it with a bit of a bang. And we both come round together, and I were like on a sofa here, he was on a sofa there. And the gent who I'm talking about had a top knot at the time. And I swear to God, when he came out of the trip, his top knot was just out and fully up. And I come out of it and I open my eyes and I'm looking round. I'm at my mother's house actually here. And all the walls look scorched, like we'd burnt the full. And I come round and I just said, what have we done? What have we done?
Did he see it as well?
And you're like, everything's all right. Everything's fine. And it took me having to film it on my phone and looking on the phone. And obviously I weren't tripping on the phone to see the room's fine. Like after half an hour, it just all subsided and I survived the ordeal. But I used to just I was doing it wrong then. You should probably scale into mushrooms, get a nice feel for it, get a nice feel for how we've been talking, we're doing microdosing.
But we need to get some quality, because I think if you're getting mushrooms around here, no offense to anybody that fucking grows them or does whatever they do for them, but they're just not, they're not going to be the same as if you get proper quality factory packed up.
And it's in like, it'd be ideal if you could get the microdosing
in
in capsules or truffles, or however you take it, and just be...
Capsules would be ideal, because then you don't feel like you're fucking smashing psychedelics every single day. It'd probably fuck your head up, whereas if you're just taking capsules, microdosing that.
Yeah.
Or, like you say, all computer coders and shit are taking them, right? Imagine when you just take them just a little whiz kid.
We'll close it out there. Let's be a bit selfish here for some shout outs. I want people to definitely subscribe to the page. That helps out massively and gets us seen. Fully Game Fellowship. That's a free Facebook group. We're going to be posting more content in there. We have launched the Patreon. What we've got at the minute, we've got a £5 plan and a £50 plan for businesses. We can DM us if you want more information on that. I know UK people are fairly tight like me and Ellis, so expecting that to happen probably is going to be a slow burner, but that will help grow the channel. The goal with the channel is to get out and make more content, make more podcasts. If you like what we talk about, and we try and keep it humorous, but hit some serious topics. If it hits a bit of a nerve and you enjoy it, if you can support it, please do. Business is 50 quid. You're going to get seen on all the videos, and I can guarantee from the perspective that we've got and we've talked about, we're going to be giving back to these Patreons, and we're going to give back to definitely the businesses who support it. If you want to support any show, we've got some big shows coming up. It's £500 an episode. We'll come and film you a video, film you a promo, get your business seen on social media, which will obviously drive traffic and drive leads. What you got going on that you want to push?
Well, first of all, with the YouTube channel, I think we've been shadow banned from the Tommy Robinson podcast. So if people can start liking and actually commenting and maybe even sharing the videos, because I think we need to get the algorithm backfiring. Yes. We've definitely been shadow banned somehow. We went from averaging fucking a couple of thousand to now 400 or 500. I don't even think it's showing us videos to his actual subscribers unless we like push it. So try and get that active again.
Sign up to Ellis's newsletter,
which
will go. I'll put both links. I'll put my newsletter, JM Academy. I'll put the Fully Game Agency newsletter on there. That's an easy way to keep up to date of what we're doing in real time. So make sure they're not, once you sign up, make sure the emails when they come out, they're not in the spam box. Make sure you either respond to the email if you can. I know everyone won't do that, or at least open it. That'll be massive. And just keep an eye out. We've got a passion for this. We want to keep growing it and keep developing it. We're going to try and make the best possible content we can, have the best possible conversations we can. We spoke at length this week that wants to be his goal, doesn't it? We can get lost sometimes, me and Ellison, thinking we've got to fucking do 20 reels a day and this, that, and the other, and repurpose it. Obviously, we want to do that, but the first key is to make the podcast the best it can, and that comes from effective, good conversations with me and you. I think let us know if you like these. Just sit down with me and Ellis, and obviously try and bring the best guests on. But I think that's pretty much all she wrote.
That's all she wrote, my man.
Good lad.
MC, make another hit.
Whoa! This ain't what you want.
Project.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. 1600 block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna I just wanna rock. Body yada yada. Shorty got that body yada yada. Hit it once, no time. Side up, fuck, you gon' kill my vibe. Stand on my money, don't know my size. Pick them sides, and you better choose wisely. That's my high. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw up to 5. That's my high. Damn. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw up to 5.